Hare Krishna. I welcome all to our Bhagavad Gita class. Today we'll be finishing this Bhagavad Gita chapter 18. So, which is conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. As we all know that Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters, and as per Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita finishes on chapter 17, and 18th chapter is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. If we look at what we have studied from chapter number 1 to chapter number 17, we see that Bhagavad Gita is divided into three parts. The first part is from chapter number 1 to 6, that is part 1, and then which is basically focused on Karma Yoga, and the 6 chapters on Dhyan Yoga, and then we have chapter 13 to 17, which is on Gyan Yoga, and the middle portion, which is from chapter number 7 to 12, is the Bhakti Yoga. That is the hidden treasure of Bhagavad Gita. And one of our acharyas has given a simile that the chapter number 1 to 6 can be compared to this entire Gita can be compared to a treasure box, and the chapter number 1 to 6 is the lower part of the jewel box, which is made of solid gold. The chapter number 13 to 17 is the lid of the jewel box, which is of solid gold with some jewels. And what is the jewels inside this box is basically compared to the Bhakti Yoga, right? So this, and it is locked, and today we'll be learning what is the key to unlock this treasure box, which will, when we unlock, we can have the access to the jewel, which is Bhakti Yoga inside, right? That is what we'll be also focusing today. Now when we come to chapter number 18, so this is how the chapter number 1 to 17 is summarized. And if you look at chapter number 18 is the conclusion of all the 17 chapters that we have done. And Krishna, in first to 12 shlokas of chapter number 18, has actually summarized the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. And from after that till around 44, he has summarized the Gyan part, which is from 13th to 17th part of Bhagavad Gita. After that, after Gyan, he starts talking about the absolute truth. And as we read in our last class, the absolute truth is one, but it appears in three forms based on how, from where we are approaching the absolute truth, right? So it is in the form of Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. The absolute truth is in three forms. It is one, but in three forms: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. And these three forms, just for our understanding, how we can compare it is, suppose when we are going in a flight, and when we see a mountain far away, when the flight reaches the mountain, closer to the mountain, we can see the green part of the mountain. We can see a green mountain from far, and this can be compared to the Brahma part. When we are far, we can just see the effulgence, the light of the Bhagwan, and that is what is the mount. When we come closer to the mountain, then we can actually see some buildings, some houses probably on the mountain. That is the Paramatma part. When we come closer, still closer from Brahma, we can approach by Dhyan Yoga, we can approach the Paramatma, which is residing the heart of all living entities. And when we come very close, then we can also see the people and animals on the mountain, and that is what is the closest form where we can see the Bhagwan, right? So in Bhagavatam, there is a shlok which says, Vadanti tat tattvam vidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdita. So Krishna, in Bhagavatam it said that learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substances Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, but they are actually one. So when we approach the Brahma, and we know that the absolute truth is Sat Chit Anand. Sat means eternal, Chit means all-knowing, and Anand is blissful, right? So when we reach the Brahma part, then we can understand only the eternal part, which is the Sat part. When we approach the Paramatma part, then we know the Sat and Chit part of the Bhagwan. But when we come to the Bhagwan part, then we actually understand the Sat Chitanand form of the Bhagwan, right? So today we'll continue with Shlok number 64 to 66, which is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, the most confidential knowledge. So as we learned last time, that knowing till Brahma is basically the confidential knowledge. Knowing Paramatma is basically the more confidential knowledge. And now we will we look into the most confidential knowledge, which is from 64 to 66. So shlok number 64. Sarvaguhya tamam bhuyah Shinu me paramam vachah Ishtosi me dridhamati Tato vakshyami te hitam Sarvaguhya tamam bhuyah. Now guhya means confidential or secret. Confidential, secret. Now guhya is guhya, guhyam, guhya taram, and guhya tamam. So there are three comparative studies. So guhyam is confidential, guhya taram is most confidential, more confidential, and guhya tamam is most confidential. So in this shlok 64 shlok, Krishna says sarva guhya tamam means the most confidential. Bhuya means again. I'll again shnu is here. Paramam vacha, listen to my paramam, supreme vacha, supreme words, which talks about the most confidential information which he's going to say. And why is he saying so? He says because ishtuasi me drinamati. Ishtuasi means because you are my dear friend. And tato vakshami te mitam, then hear it from for your hit. For your hit means for your benefit. So let us read the English translation. Because you are my dear friend, I am speaking to you. My supreme instruction. The most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me. For it is for your benefit. Then we go to the next shlok. Manmana bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru Mame Vaishyasi Satyam Te Pratijane Priyosi Me Manmana Bhav Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Vaishyasi Satyam Te Pratijane Priyosi Me. So Krishna says here, he's revealing the most confidential knowledge, which is manmana. Manmana means think of me always. Manmana, think of me always. Bhav means become. What do you become? Mad bhakto. He is saying be my devotee. Be my devotee. What is the meaning of being my devotee? Being my devotee means hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, worshipping Krishna. So he's saying Mad Bhakto. It's be my devotee. Madhyaji means worship me. Worship means decorating Krishna, offering flowers to Krishna, offering lambs to Krishna, worshipping me. Mam Namaskuru. So he gives us the 4 steps by which we can approach Krishna, right? And Krishna says, Maime Vaishyasi Satyam Te. And he says, if you do that, ma'am, if you are doing that, then what will happen? Without fail, you will come to me. Mam evashyasi, you will come to me. Satyam te, without fail, you will come to me. Pratijane, pratijane means I promise. Pratijane means I promise. Priyosime. Why he is saying priyosime? Because priya means because you are my very dear to me. So I am telling you this, that you can approach me. He is now here. He is telling about the most confidential knowledge as Bhagwan. He is the Bhagwan, and how we can approach him. He says there are 4 steps by which we can approach him. First is, the highest step is thinking about him always. Now we can think about him always. Who are those examples? Are the gopis of Vrindavan. They always thought about Krishna in the in the positive way, always thinking for his good, right? But there are demons like Kans. Yeah, those who wanted to kill Krishna, they were also thinking about Krishna, but not in a favorable way. So we have to think about Krishna always in a favorable way. And then if you cannot do that, then we have to become his bhakta. It means start hearing, chanting, and get your connection with Krishna. If we cannot even do that, then third step is do worship to him, and fourth is do namas. By doing that, what will happen? We can actually approach Krishna, the Supreme Lord, and that this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, which is the Bhakti Yoga. This is called Bhakti Yoga. Now, when Krishna says Mad Bhakto means, it says, remember me as I am. And now Krishna, how is he telling to Arjun? So he's basically he's the blue god, right? With the flute in his hand, with a peacock feather. So he says, think of me as that, in that form, think of me as Krishna. And then this message basically via Arjun, he's passing to all of us, to all those people who will actually travel or walk in the footsteps of Arjun. They will also be able to reach Krishna, right? But and this is the only shlok which is repeated twice in Bhagavad Gita, right? So let us read the English translation. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage to me, unto me. Thus you will come to me, without fail. I promise you this, because you are my dear friend. Right. And the next shlok, 66. Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam rajah aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shuchah sarvadharman parityajya मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. So here Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya. Sarva is all. Dharman is dharma. All dharma. Parityajya means leave it. Abandon that. Mam ekam. Mam means to him, to Krishna. Ekam sharanam vraja. Sharanam means surrender to me alone. Surrender to me alone. Aham tvam. I will give to you. Sarva papebhyo. Whatever sins you would have done. Mokshishyami. I will liberate you from all the sins that you would have done. Masucha. Do not fear. Do not worry. Right? So this is, so last, the Manmana Bhav Bhakto and Sarvdharma, these two shloks are said by the Acharyas as the key to unlock that jewel box. So when we can, so surrendering to Krishna, and then doing his bhakti, by doing that, we can actually get liberation. We can actually go back to him. Whatever sins we would have done, if we surrender to him, he will take care. He says, you don't have to fear, you don't have to worry, whatever sinful people we may be. But if we surrender to him completely, he will guide us. He will tell us how we can move forward so that we can become pure, and he will take us back with him, right? So if we go back to this shlok, Sarv Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. So he talks about surrender, right? So this is the supreme instruction that Krishna is giving to all of us. Yeah. And he says Mam Ekam. He doesn't say, okay, not only me, you can also go to other to anyone else. He says Mam Ekam. It is Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti means one pointed attention. It can be equated to Manmana. Think of me always. And that is Mam Ekam Sharanam. You can think of him always when you are at that level of surrendering where you are only surrendered to him completely. Otherwise, I'm surrendering to you today, but I'm also surrendering to X. I'm surrendering to Y, in the sense surrendering to all material things. Then basically, then it is all divided. And when we are divided, then we cannot achieve him completely, right? So let us read the translation. Abandon all varieties of religion or dharma.
Abandon all varieties of religion and
just surrender unto me.
just surrender unto me.
I shall deliver you
I shall deliver you
from all sinful reactions.
from all sinful reactions.
Do not fear.
Do not.
Now, there's a very important word, dharma. Dharma here. Now, the dharma word does not have any English equivalent. Dharma is a Sanskrit word and it does not have any English equivalent. Now, if you remember in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, what had happened? Arjun had become bewildered, right? Arjun had got confused, because of which Krishna spoke and surrendered to Krishna, because of which Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, right? Now, one of the reason that he was bewildered was that how can I kill my guru? How can I kill my Bhishpita, great grandfather? That was his belief. So what was happening? He was getting conflicted by his which dharma? It was his family tradition. He was a son of the same family, right? So how can I kill my own people? And that is your dharma as a towards his own family. At the same time, he was struggling with he was a kshatriya, and being a kshatriya, he had to protect the dharma, right, which is right. And for that he had to fight. So he was struggling with his family duty as a son, what he should was a son, and other relatives what he should behave, and again as a kshatriya, duty of a kshatriya, what he should do. So he was all confused by that. So here Krishna says dharma is basically your duty. For example, what is the dharma of a fire? The fire gives heat and light. That is the dharma of a fire. What is the dharma of a sugar? It gives sweetness. That is an intrinsic property. Similarly, what is us? For us, what are we are actually, Krishna says, mamai vansho jeev loge jeev bhuta sanatana. We are actually part and parcel of Krishna. So what is our original identity? Our original identity is we are soul and part and parcel of Krishna. But because we are, because we are, what do you call it? Not so pure, and we have got so many sins. We have got attached to the bodily conception of our life. We have got attached to the bodily conception of our life, and because of which whatever we are doing, it is all temporary. It is all temporary, right? But then our original thing is we are pure soul, and that is our real nature. We are pure soul and part and parcel of Krishna. So when we abandon everything else, whatever is temporary, then we are in the pure form. And that pure form, what it is, whatever, that's why Krishna says abandon all varieties of religion, all other temporary entanglements that in which we are bound. We have to leave all that and surrender to Krishna. And when we do that, then what happens? We will be free from whatever sins we have done, or because of which we have got all this body and all those karmas. All will He will ensure that we get free from all that, and we'll get reach Him, right? So let's again read the translation. Abandon all varieties of dharma
Abandon all varieties of dharma
and just surrender unto me.
and just surrender unto me.
I shall deliver you
I shall deliver you
from all sinful reactions.
from all sinful reactions.
Do not fear.
Do not
Yeah. So this stroke number 65 is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. That is Bhakti Yoga. Is the yoga that we should do bhakti towards Krishna, and we should surrender to Him. So this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Now we go to the next set, which is glories of studying the and teachings of Bhagavad Gita, which is the last set of chapter number 18 from 67 to 78. Let us go to stroke number 67. Idam te na tapaskaya
Idam te na tapaskaya
na bhaktaya kadachana
na bhaktaya kadachana
na cha shushve vachyam
na cha shushvatsyam
na cha mam yobhya asuyati.
na cha mamyo apasuyati.
Idam te na tapaskaya. Idam Idam means this knowledge, whatever Krishna has explained till now, this knowledge, they na atapaskaya. Tap means austerity. Tap means austerity. Someone who is doing tapasya. So those who are atapa means those who do not do austerity. Those who do not do austerity. Na bhaktaya. Na means no, and abhaktaya means those who are not the bhakta. Bhakta means those who are devotees of Krishna. Those who are not those who do not do austerity, and those who are not bhakta, and na chashushve. Chashush means those who do not do devotional service to Krishna. Those who do not do devotional service. Vachyam na cha mam yobhya asuyati. Asuyati means envious. Those who are envious to Krishna. This knowledge should not be shared with any of them. Krishna says, idam te na tapaskaya na abhaktaya kadachana na chashushve vachyam na cha mam yobhya asuyasut. Those who are not austere, those who are abhakt, those who are not bhakta, those who do not perform devotional service, and those who are envious. This knowledge should not be explained to them. Many people are envious of Krishna because Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita that I am the Supreme Lord. I am the, and come to me. What happens? Many people, they are envious. They how can this be? So this knowledge should never be explained to them. So let's read the English translation. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Next. Ya idam paramam guhyam madbhakteshva vidhasyati bhaktim mai param kritva mame vaishyatya asanshaya. So Krishna says, Yah idam paramam guhyam. This idam, this knowledge, this idam is this knowledge, which is paramam. Paramam means which is highest. Guhyam is secret, which is the highest confidential. Mad bhakteshva abhidhasyati means those who are telling this knowledge to my bhaktas, the people who are listening to this knowledge intently. Those a person who is actually sharing this knowledge, this param secret knowledge, to the people who are listening to them. What will happen to them? Bhaktim mai param kritva. They will achieve my param bhakti. They will achieve my param devotion, and mame vaishyati asanshaya. And there is no doubt that they will come to me. Come to me. So for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end, he will come back to me. Then Krishna says, Na cha tasman manushyeshu kaschin me priya kritam bhavita na cha me tasmad anyah priyataro bhuvi. Na cha tasman manushyeshu. Manushyeshu means among the people, among the manushya, among the people, among the servants. Na tasman. There is no one equivalent. There is no one. Kaschin me priyakritam. No one is as dear to Krishna as Bhavita na cha me tasmad. And neither anyone else will become more dear to the person who is sharing this knowledge to the devotees. So let us read the English translation. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. Then shlok number 70. Adhyeshyate cha ya imam dharmam samvadam avayo jnana yagyena ten aham ishtah
ज्ञानयज्ञेन तेनाहम्
इष्ट स्याम इति मे मति
इष्टस्याम् इति मे मति
अध्येष्यते च य इमम्
अध्येष्यते च य इमम्
धर्मं संवादमावयोः
धर्म्यं संवादमावयोः
ज्ञानयज्ञेन तेनाहम्
ज्ञानयज्ञेन तेनाहम्
इष्ट स्याम इति मे मति.
इष्टस्याम् इति मे मति.
And Krishna says, and I declare that
And I declare that
he who studies this sacred conversation
he who studies the sacred conversation
of ours
of ours
worships me by his intelligence.
worships me by his intelligence.
71. Shraddhavan anusuyascha
Shraddhavan anusuyascha
shrunuyadapi yo narah
शृणुयादपि यो नरः
sopi mukta shubhan lokan
सोऽपि मुक्तः शुभालोकान्
prapnuyat punya karmanam.
प्राप्नुयात् पुण्यकर्मणाम्.
Shraddhavan, with full faith, and anasuyascha means without envy. Shrinuya means those who hear. Yonar, all those people who hear this knowledge, this discussion between Krishna and Arjun by faithfully and without envy. What will happen? Sopi mukta. What will happen? They will get liberation. They will get mukta. They'll get liberation. And what will happen to them? Shubhan lokan prapnu. They will reach those lok, which is those planets they will reach, which is given to punya karmana. Those who are where lot the pious people dwell, they will actually reach that planet, right? And one who listens with faith
And one who listens with faith
and without envy
and without envy
becomes free from sinful reactions
becomes free from sinful reactions
and attains to auspicious planets
and attains to the auspicious planets
where the pious dwell.
where the pious dwell.
Realization by Arjun, shlok number 72 and 73. So we go to the next shlok. Kaschidetachyutam partha
कच्चिदेतच्छ्रुतं पार्थ
त्वयि एकाग्रेण चेतसः
त्वय्येकाग्रेण चेतसा
कश्चित् ज्ञानसम्मोहः
कश्चित् ज्ञानसम्मोहः
प्रणष्टस्ते धनञ्जय.
प्रणश्यस्ते धनञ्जय.
Now Krishna is asking Arjun, Kaschid detat shrutam partha. O Parth, you had surrendered, and that is why I was telling you this knowledge about Bhagavad Gita. I was telling to you, have you understood? Tvai ekagrana chetasa. Ekagrana means by full concentration. Have you heard this knowledge in full concentration? And Kaschit ajnana sammoha, and has your ignorance and your illusion, has that got nashta, has that got destroyed? Dhananjaya. So let's read the translation. O son of Pritha,
O son of Pritha,
O conqueror of wealth,
O conqueror of wealth,
have you heard this
have you heard this
with an attentive mind?
with an attentive mind?
And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled?
And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled?
Right. Let's go to the realization of Arjun. Arjun says, Nashto moha smritirlabdha
Nashto moha smritirlabdha
tvat prasadani ma achyuta
त्वत्प्रसादमाय
sthito asmi gata sandeha
स्थितोऽस्मिन् गतसन्देहः
karishye vachanam tava.
करिष्ये वचनं तव.
Nashto moha smritirlabdha
नष्टो मोहस्मृतिर्लब्धा
tvat prasadan maya achyuta
त्वत्प्रसादान्मयाच्युत
sthitosi gat sandeha
स्थितोऽसि गतसन्देहः
karishye vachanam tava.
करिष्ये वचनं तव.
So Arjun replies to Krishna, Nashto moha, O Krishna, my moha, my illusion is now, it has been destroyed. Smritir labdha, I have regained my knowledge. Smriti is my memory. I have regained my memory. Tvat prasadena, because of your mercy. O Achyut, Achyut is Krishna. O Achyut, because of your mercy, what has happened? I have been, my memory has been revived. I have understood things, and my moh has been destroyed. Sthito asmi. Now I am firmly situated. And gat sandeha, my all doubts are now has been removed. Karishye vachanam tava, whatever vachan, whatever knowledge you have, instructions you have given to me, I will follow that, right? Arjun said,
Arjun said,
my dear Krishna,
my dear Krishna,
O infallible one,
O infallible one,
my illusion is now gone.
my illusion is now gone.
I have regained my memory
I have regained my memory
by your mercy.
by your mercy.
I am now free, firm and free from doubt,
I am now firm and free from doubt,
and am prepared to act
and I am prepared to act
according to your instructions.
according to your instructions.
So now just let us look at the most confidential knowledge that Krishna had given, and the two strokes that we talked about, which is the key for opening the jewel box. So we saw what Arjun had done. Arjun was totally bewildered. What Arjun did, he surrendered to Krishna, and he completely surrendered to Krishna, right? So first thing he did was surrendered, which is in the stroke number 66. What do? What we need to do? We need to surrender to Krishna, and with full faith, with no doubt, it will happen properly. And then what did he do? Man mana bhav mad bhakto. He was only thinking of Krishna, listening to Krishna, and clearing his doubts from Krishna. And finally, he said, "Whatever you do, I have accepted, and I'm going to act." So he is the highest, one of the highest bhakt of Krishna, right? Now let's go to the last four shloks of Bhagavad Gita, which is realization of Sanjay. So shlok number 74. Sanjay uvacha
Sanjay Uvacha,
ityaham vasudevasya
Ityaham Vasudevasya,
parthasya cha mahatmanah
Parthasya cha Mahatmanah,
samvadam imam ashrosham
Samvadam imam Ashrausham,
adbhutam roma harshanam.
Adbhutam Roma Arshanam.
So who is Sanjay? So let us go back to the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What happened? Dhritarashtra is sitting in the throne in Hastinapur, and Sanjay is sitting next to him, and he's asking, Sanjay is sitting there, and he's asking Sanjay, oh Sanjay, tell me, and what is happening in Kurukshetra, where Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samveda Yutsava Mamaka Pandava Sheva Kim Akurvat Sanjaya. That is the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita, which Dhritarashtra, who is the father of Duryodhan or Kauravas, is asking Sanjay that tell me in Kurukshetra, where my sons and the sons of Pandu, they have assembled to Yutsava. Yutsava means to fight. What is happening there? And Dhritarashtra is blind, and Sanjay, Hastinapur is where it is today, near Delhi, and Kurukshetra is at least 300 kilometers away from Delhi. And Sanjay had the divine vision, and he had the divine vision. It's just like he's watching in television and telling Dhritarashtra what's happening. You can see everything that's happening in the field of Kurukshetra, and he's telling Dhritarashtra, the entire Bhagavad Gita is narrated what Sanjay is seeing there in the Kurukshetra. Is telling to Dhritarashtra. So Sanjay was blessed by Vedvyas. Vedvyas was his guru, and he had blessed him with the divine eyes, so he could see the entire war. So now Sanjay is saying that Itya aham vasudevasya parthasya cha mahatmanah samvadam imidi. The sambad, the discussion that happened between the two Mahatmas, who the Krishna and Parth, Vasudev and Arjun, that is so adbhut, that is so beautiful, that is so wonderful, that Roma Harshanam, my all hairs are standing, which is my all hairs are standing. So let's read the English translation. Sanjay said, thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjun, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. Vyasa, next slok, 75th. Vyasa prasadat shutvan
व्यासप्रसादात् श्रुत्वा
एतद् गुह्यम् अहं परम्
एतद् गुह्यमहं परम्
योगं योगेश्वरात् कृष्णा
योगं योगेश्वरात् कृष्णा
साक्षात् कथयतः स्वयं
साक्षात् कथयत् स्वयं
व्यासप्रसादात् श्रुतवान्
व्यासप्रसादात् श्रुतवान्
एतद् गुह्यम् अहं परम्
एतद् गुह्यमहं परम्
योगं योगेश्वरात् कृष्णात्
योगं योगेश्वरात् कृष्णा
साक्षात् कथयतः स्वयं.
साक्षात् कथयत् स्वयं.
So Sanjay says Vyasa prasad cha shrutvan, because of the prasad mercy of Vyas Ved Vyas, who is his guru. Shrutvan, I could hear what he could hear. Etad guhyam aham param, this most confidential param, the supreme confidential knowledge I have heard. Yogam Yogeshwarat Krishna. Who is Krishna? He is the Yogeshwara. Yogeshwara means he is the master of mystics. He is a master of mysticism. So the samvad is between, the discussion between Yogam Yogeshwar Krishna Sakshat Kathyanta Swayam. I myself have seen it Sakshat happening between, Sakshat means in front of me happening, the discussion between Krishna and Arjun. So let us read the English translation. By the mercy of Vyas, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjun. 76. Rajan Sansmritya Samvadam Imam Adbhutam Keshvarjunyo Punyam Hishyami cha muhurmuhu. Rajan is, now he is addressing to Dhritarashtra. Rajan Sansmritya means remembering. Sansmritya means remembering. So Rajan, O Dhritarashtra, remembering again and again what? Samvad. Samvad is that discussion that happened. Imam Adbhutam. This Adbhut, this wonderful discussion that was happening between Krishna and Arjun, remembering that again and again, Keshwa Arjunya Punyam, thinking between the Keshav and Krishna and Arjun, Hirshyami cha muhurmuhum. I am getting thrilled, I am becoming thrilled again and again. I am becoming thrilled at every moment. So let us read the translation. O King, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjun, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. Shlok number 77. Tach sansmritya Rupam etad adbhutam hare Vismayo me mahan rajan Hishyami cha punah punah. So he says, O Rajan, O Dhritarashtra, touch sansmritya, remembering again and again. What? Hare means Hari, of Krishna. What? Rupam, the beautiful form. Adbhut, the beautiful, wonderful form of Krishna. Vismayo, I am becoming wonderstruck. Me Mahan Rajan, Hishyami cha pura puna. And thinking of that, I am becoming thrilled again and again. O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. The last shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdharah Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्ममा
ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम
यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो
यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो
यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः
यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः
तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिर्
तत्र श्रीविजयो भूतिर्
ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्ममा.
ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम.
And now Sanjay is giving a is now declaring Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Yatra means wherever. Yogeshwara is the master of mystic. Master of mystic Krishna. Wherever there is a master of mystic Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. And where Parth Arjun, who is the great archer. Dhanurdhara means who is a great archer. Tat wherever they will be there, Tatra what will happen? Shri. Shri means wealth. Vijaya means victory. Bhutir means extraordinary power. Dhruva means definitely. Nitir means morality. Matir Mama is my opinion that wherever there will be Krishna, Yogeshwara Krishna will be there, and wherever the supreme archer Arjun will be there, there it will be wealth will be there, victory will be there, power will be there, morality will be there. That is my opinion. So let us read the translation. Wherever there is Krishna,
Wherever there is Krishna,
the master of all mystics,
the master of all mystics,
and wherever there is Arjun,
and wherever there is Arjuna,
the supreme archer,
the supreme archer,
there will also certainly be
there will also certainly be
opulence,
opulence,
victory,
victory,
extraordinary power,
extraordinary power,
and morality.
and morality.
That is my opinion.
That is my
So now,
opinion.
what Sanjay is doing? Sanjay is the Bhagavad Gita started by Dhritarashtra asking Sanjay that what he is hoping that Kaurav will win. He always wanted Duryodhan to get the throne. So this whole fight he was one of the reason because of which fight happened also. So he wanted Kauravs to win, and that is why he asked Sanjay that what is happening, tell me, hoping that they will win. And now in the end, in the last slok, Sanjay is declaring that wherever Krishna will be there, wherever Arjun will be there, victory will be theirs. Victory will be theirs. So he's telling Dhritarashtra, you have no hope for victory. Now the fight was between Duryodhan, who was leading from Kaurav's side, and Yudhishthir, who was leading from Pandava's side. And Arjun was supporting Yudhishthir, and Krishna was the charioteer of Bhaktvatsala. He was charioteer of Arjun. So he's not only declaring that, he's also declaring that Yudhishthir will win, and then there will be Shri, more wealth, there will be victory, there will be more power, and their morality will prevail. Right? So this is what with this we will end the we have completed all the 700 shloks of Bhagavad Gita in this session, which is the 83rd session. And from next Saturday onwards, we'll start with basics of Bhagavad Gita. That will be our next topic, next book that will start. And but the 700 shloks finishes today. And thank you all. And let us chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and end this class. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, you can put it in the comments and I'll try my best to answer it. Hare Krishna. Thank you.